there you go.
Oh,
Oh, good.
okay. Calling to order the Marquette City Planning Commission meeting of Tuesday, June 2nd, 2020. Let's start with roll call. I'll call your name and just say here. Commissioner Brooks,
Here.
Commissioner Andres,
Present.
Commissioner Ruiz,
Here.
Commissioner Larson,
Here.
Commissioner Middlefelt,
Here.
Commissioner Dunn,
Here.
and Commissioner Primo.
Here.
And Joy Cardillo is also here. Moving on to the agenda, does anybody have any comments or changes they'd like to make to the agenda? Are you good, Andrea? Nothing needs to be,
Yeah, because we added the minutes already, so, but I
okay.
don't know if Dave had anything. I do have one piece of correspondence to read that we received after the agenda was posted for Black Rocks.
Okay.
I will make a motion to approve the agenda with said changes.
Great. Get a second?
Second.
Commissioner Brooks gives a second. All in favor of approving the agenda with changes as noted?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The agenda is approved. Moving on to the minutes. I'll just say right now, I was not able to review the minutes in the time since we got them. So did anybody else, was the majority of the people able to review them or not able to review them?
I was not. This is Aaron.
Okay. Andrea, can we postpone approving them or can we approve them via email? Is that something that would be possible? Like when we've had a chance, can we all just say?
Either you'd approve them tonight or it would be in 2 weeks at the next meeting with any changes. Or if you wanted to take time to review them now, you could do so.
It's 14 pages. I don't want to take time to review them now. Can we postpone it for 2 weeks?
If that's what you guys choose to do.
So we would have to make a motion to do that?
Mhm.
Okay. What is that? Does anybody have? What?
I'll make a motion. I'll just make a motion that we postpone the approval of minutes from the Planning Commission meeting on July, or no, what was that? July. What day was that? May 21st? Was that the last one?
That sounds.
20
The 19th.
approval of minutes for next time. May 19th. There we go.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Brooks seconds. All in favor of postponing the minutes, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion carries. Okay. So that's the minute. Does anybody have a conflict of interest that they would like to declare at this time? Seeing as how there is none, let's move on to our first public hearing, which is item A, 10-SUP-06-2020, 344 West Washington Street, recreational marijuana retailer. Andrea?
Give me 1 second here. Sorry. Okay. All right. Staff has reviewed the special land permit for a marijuana retailer located at 344 West Washington Street. Attached to the agenda packet was the staff file review and analysis, which included all the ordinance requirements and attachments, which were the special land use permit application, their pre-qual letter from the state, their required narrative, the site plan review application, staff comments, the responses to staff comments, the area map, the parcels outlined in blue, the block map, the parcels outlined in blue, existing photos of the site, and the site plan. And correspondence was received prior to the agenda going out for this case from Cliff and Shirley Fitzpatrick. And they were asking about parking questions. And that is it if you guys have any questions for me.
Hold on, sorry, I'm having does anybody have questions for Andrea? Commissioner Dunn.
Andrea, the comments that the applicant made, just stating that they were gonna, regarding the hours of operation and saying that they were gonna follow, is that all they need to do? Is now that they've stated that in the application, are we good there?
But that's something you guys will need to discuss. If you want them to set hours to which they must adhere by if you guys choose to approve this, or if you're okay, just leave it blanket. This is what they're proposing.
Commissioner Middlefelt?
Yeah, I just had a question for Andrea also. In looking at the site plan review number 10 under nuisances, on this one, no noise, vibration, dust, fumes, or other nuisance shall leave the property in a manner that affects surrounding areas. And then it says to be determined by the planning commission, staff comment, to be determined. But I mean, none of us have expertise in this, and can't we assume if they've met
Just like all of them.
Yeah, like,
Yeah, it's the same answer that is on all of them. So you will have to ask them, do they foresee any of that? If not, then they have to meet that.
but can we assume, like, if they're following all the code and all the state requirements for licensing that they have? I feel like that's the assumption we're all working under. Like, should we be discussing this more? Or?
Well, that's something that you can discuss with them to verify to make sure. And that's part of the public hearing process. But yeah, if they state that they're going to meet all the codes and stuff, then if they don't, then that's where we could look at the revocation of a special land use.
But that would be
Okay,
more based on complaints than on
Right.
preemptive kind of.
Okay. Thanks, Andrea. I just was curious about that.
Okay. Commissioner Ruiz.
My only concern with that property is it looks like if I remember correctly, there's 2 bays. Did they used to do auto work there?
Yeah, that was an auto store. They're demoing a portion of the building and they're putting in the parking lot.
Well, I'm assuming that some sort of environmental study, because I'm assuming if there was auto work being done on site, then there'd have to be some sort of environmental study done.
No, there wasn't auto work, it's auto parts.
No.
They did have that separate part of the building that they're demoing in. Actually, they had a small machine shop in there where they used to make like specialized parts, but no, that never was an auto repair facility.
Okay.
Okay. Do you have any other questions for Andrea or Dave? Okay, one sec.
Jesus.
So, and you read the only correspondence, correct?
The correspondence that was in the agenda packet.
Okay, so do we want to have
Go ahead.
our applicant speak on their behalf?
Hello.
Hello, who do we have?
Everybody can hear me?
Yes. Who do we have from UP Engineers? Is this
Matt Trito.
Matt Trado? Oh, hi, Matt.
Hey.
And then we have, it looks like Joni Moore. She's connecting to audio still. Let's give her a second. Ms. Moore, can you hear us? Doesn't seem like she can hear us.
I'll shoot her a text. I've been texting her here a bit, so.
Okay. I don't know if she needs to turn on her audio or.
Well, while we're waiting for her to join us, I think I can touch on some of the questions that you guys were discussing prior to my incorporation into the meeting here.
Sure.
A couple of things that were discussed that I caught. Anything that, if I'm missing anything, just let me know. But I know we had provided some generic responses on a decent amount of these questions, some of them referring to noise and dust and that sort of thing. A lot of that is all handled by the county in the construction permit. We have to meet all the soil erosion sedimentation control requirements that the county permit requires, that the building permit requires. And we're still required, obviously, to go through that process and get all those approvals. So a lot of this stuff is a little bit redundant depending on which overseeing agency we're following. So we're still required and mandated to meet all those requirements through the county permit. And then, of course, any approvals that are contingent upon the city of Marquette's final approval. I know you guys also discussed environmental stuff. Tri-Media did do an environmental assessment on the building that was done prior to the purchase agreement. So all that has been worked out, and there's no environmental contamination identified by Tri-Media during their process.
Thank you. Is Ms. Moore the owner of the building?
She, I believe so, owner and operator.
So she will be operating the establishment?
Yeah, she's yeah, one of the managing partners, I believe.
Okay. Oh, Joni Moore, can you hear us? Hi, okay. You got your audio working, great. Is there anything you want to say on behalf of your application?
At this point, you want to hear a little bit about myself, my company, what's appropriate at this point?
Yeah, just tell us about yourself, the business, any specific details relating to this actual property, operation or building wise.
Okay, so just a little bit of background about myself. I'm a plant scientist. I'm born and raised in Michigan. I've been educated in Michigan. I have a bachelor's in botany and a master's in forestry. I've been in the cannabis business for the past 5 years, and really excited to be part of the Marquette community where I live now. My daughter lives here as well. And also really excited to be part of this cannabis business. What else can I tell you?
Well, if you don't have anything further, we can see if there's any questions for you from our commissioners. Do we have any questions for our applicant from our commissioners? Doesn't look like it. Do you know, oh, Commissioner Dunn, yeah.
So I guess I'll ask the same question. Can you nail down your hours of operation for us?
Sure. I think, first of all, of course, we would follow whatever guidelines the city of Marquette asks us to. I believe the guidelines right now are 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. We would definitely be within that. I think maybe 9 to 9, 9 to 8, something like that. We haven't quite nailed down the exact hours, but those would definitely be within the guidelines that the city of Marquette requests. Does that answer your question? Did you need to know any more specifically at this point?
No, I guess as long as you're aware that it's between 6 and 9 and somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Is fine. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Commissioner Larson.
This is only a retail establishment, and I saw that you do have a license as well with the state of Michigan, a Class C grow license.
Yes.
That is correct.
Yes,
that's going to be at a different facility other than this.
Yes, exactly. We've started that grow facility, and that's in Humboldt Township.
Approximately how many employees do you think you're going to be having?
Well, sure. I think to start, that would be about 20 employees. And as the operation grows, that could be more, up to 30 employees. That's something that I think we're going to discover as we go along and as we build our staff. Some of those would likely be part-time, many full-time employees though.
Okay. Do you want to speak? We did have one letter just questioning about parking. I mean, it does seem like with the demolition of the one portion, you'll be adding more parking than was there. But do you have any comments just on how you'll manage parking should your have required at times need more parking than
And the 12 spaces that are in the lot? Sure. Well, we have those 12 spaces available. As you know, there's street parking. We will be asking employees not to park near the facility so that customers have those spaces available. And we're looking into leasing some of the parking spaces that the city has available so that our employees would have access to those.
Okay. And in terms of you're not doing a dumpster, how will you be dealing with, you're just gonna, did I read that correctly? That you're not allocating space for a dumpster, you're gonna be just doing trash bags?
That might be a question that that Matt Trito could answer for us.
Yeah, we had discussed the need for a dumpster and had spoken with Keith Garrett, who's one of the other managing partners, and they didn't feel at that time that there was any need for a large scale commercial dumpster. Now, that doesn't mean that, you know, once they get started and they get going and they start generating a lot of trash, that we would then come back to the planning commission with a revised site plan that shows a dumpster on site. But as of right now, they don't believe that something of that capacity is mandated or necessary.
And do you have any trash that's generated from the products? Is there a process for how to deal with that?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Any sort of trash that's created from the products that you create, do you have a system?
Yeah, there's very specific ways to deal with cannabis waste. And first of all, there would be no waste that would be processed out of this retail center. And like I said, Laura has very specific ways about how you deal with that. That can't just go into the garbage. That has to go to a secured, manned facility. It has to be mixed with some other products when it's disposed of. It has to be ground. So none of that would be happening out of this facility.
Okay.
Joy, I've got a question.
Okay. Commissioner Ruiz, and then Dave had something.
You said that there's not going to be any waste, and I can understand that from the product itself. But what about packaging and everything else that you, in terms of the retail, products that you're obtaining from around the state? I mean, there's got to be some waste that's going to be generated from the packaging and boxes that you guys received. What is your plan for that stuff?
Just traditional Marquette, City of Marquette recycling and garbage dumpsters at this point in time. If at any point in time that we feel like the capacity of what those dumpsters can provide, those just rollaway dumpsters can provide, then we'll have to be coming back to the planning commission with a dumpster location. But based on our conversations with the operators of the facility, we don't believe that to be an issue.
And I guess, what did you use to guesstimate the amount of waste that you're going to, I mean, most retail facilities produce more waste than your general household. My concern would be that you would have, bags on the curb, or, 40 different yellow and green trash cans that are, unsightly. I guess, why do you feel as if the amount of trash that you're going to generate is going to be nominal?
I mean, Joni can speak to this as well, but, the size of the product, the amount of product and the storage that's going to be taking place, I mean, it's, they're small scale sales of product. I mean, we're not bringing in thousands of pounds of product on a weekly basis. I mean, this is a facility that's going to be, selling things on a smaller scale, traditionally. And, we didn't run like a garbage calculation spreadsheet or anything to make sure that we were going to be far exceeding what we need to meet that requirement. But, we had that discussion. We discussed, do we need a dumpster? Do we not need a dumpster? And it was determined with those preliminary conversations based on the owner that at that point in time that it wasn't gonna be necessary. Doesn't mean that hindsight will be 2020. We don't intend, or we're not going to have 20 yellow dumpsters out there. I believe the maximum is, Andrea, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I believe is you can have 2 recycling and 2 garbage dumpsters or something, or rollaway containers, something like that.
From what we found from reviewing a different site plan, you can have more than that. It's on what you want to pay on your.
That's not going to be the intent. We're not going to try to get away from having a dumpster by having 20 rollaway yellow dumpsters. One, we don't have the storage space for that in the building, and the storage space in the building is at a premium. So if at any point in time we need more than a couple yellow and a couple green dumpster or rollaway dumpsters, well, then we're going to be looking at putting in the commercial grade dumpster.
So I could speak a little bit to this as well. I worked in the I worked in a dispensary in the Houghton area for 5 years, and there was a big garbage container in the back room, and we emptied that out once a week. There really is not that much waste. The product that we receive comes in those vacuum packed bags. There's not a lot of packaging. The packaging goes out the door with the customer. It isn't that comes, on our end where we would be throwing that away. We won't be selling a lot of product that comes with a lot of packaging. I really don't see the biggest amount of garbage is going to be what the employees bring with their lunch and toss in the garbage. I really just don't see that being a big issue. But of course, as Matt said, if it is, we'll get a dumpster. It's not that we're trying to get away with anything.
Okay, thank you. Dave, did you have something to add? We don't have, your audio is not on yet, Dave. There you go. You're good. No.
Say there are quite a few businesses in the downtown area that have been using green bags and the rollaway containers for quite some time. So the containers are a pretty good option if they don't have a lot of trash, so shouldn't be an issue.
Great. Any other? Commissioner Ruiz? Your audio went a little.
One other. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Would your intent then to be to have the containers rather than the green bags? Because on a personal note, I think that the green bags should be shunned in the community. But and I think that it's just much nicer to have those carts. I just was wondering if that would be your intent if you're not going to go with the dumpsters.
I would be very happy to get the rollaway. I don't prefer the plastic garbage bags myself either.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further questions for the applicant? All right, you guys can hang out and just put yourselves on mute, and if we have questions, we'll let you know, okay?
Sounds good. Thanks, Joy.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, do we have any public anybody wants to speak from the public, Andrea or Sean?
No, there's only 3 people in the waiting room, and 2 are for a different case and the other one for at the end of the meeting.
Okay. What do we think, guys? Do we want to have discussion? Does somebody want to make a motion? What are our I don't have a ton of questions beyond what we've already talked about. It seems fairly straightforward to me. So if unless there's somebody that's got something they want to discuss, I would encourage somebody to make a motion.
I can attempt the motion.
Go for it.
For case number 10 SUP 06 2020 344 West Washington Street. The Planning Commission finds that it meets the requirements for, let me go down, I'm sorry. Meets the requirements and hereby approves the 10 SUP 06 2020 as presented.
I'll second.
Wait, Aaron,
Do we need to call out the code sections, and do we need to do amended to meet staff comments?
yeah, if you're going to approve, your motion is to approve, staff is asking that an amended plan is submitted to staff to meet the comments provided. And then
And the amended plan is presented to meet staff comments.
And then to have a motion, to meet legal requirements, we'd like the site plan set after review of the site plan set dated May 4th, 2020 with supplemental documentation and the staff file review analysis for the case, the planning commission finds, and then the sections of the code that they have to meet too in the motion.
I'm sorry, let me go down and find the proper language, or if somebody wants to
Do you want me to put the
18? It's on page 18. Do you have the
I can put the agenda on the screen. Would that help, Aaron?
Yes.
Give me 1 second to find that page. I'm sorry.
After further review of the state plan date 4/20 or May 4th, 2020, submitted documents and file review analysis for SUP or 10 SUP 06 2020, the Planning Commission find that this does meet the request and hereby approves SUP 620 or 06 2020 as presented.
Do we need to list the LDC sections, Andrea, or is that?
Yeah, we have to.
So where do you want me to start? Or do I have to
It
redo
says
the whole
the
thing?
intent and requirements of the Land Development Code, sections 5.4. We just need to get that information in.
And it meets the requirements of the Land Development Code 541403541402 and 54.628.
And then you stated as presented, but also with the condition to meet staff comments be submitted.
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioner Andres. Is that good, Andrea?
Sorry, I was on mute. Yeah.
You're, okay. Do we have a
I'll
second?
second.
Who is that? I missed that. Was that Commissioner Ruiz?
Ruiz.
Okay, Ruiz. Commissioner Ruiz seconds. We'll do a roll call vote on this. Commissioner Brooks,
Yay.
Commissioner Andres,
Yes.
Commissioner Middlefelt,
Yes.
Commissioner Larson,
Yes.
Commissioner Dunn,
Yes.
Commissioner Primo,
Yes.
Commissioner Ruiz,
Yes.
and Commissioner Cardillo votes yes as well. The motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You as well. Thanks.
Matt, I'm just going to put you back in the waiting room for the last case.
Okay, I'll be there.
Okay, moving on to our next public hearing, item B, item 11-SUP-07-2020, 420 and 424 North 3rd Street and 143 West Michigan Street, outdoor entertainment and community events, accessory use and expansion of existing outdoor food and beverage service. So Andrea.
Okay. Staff has reviewed the said permit mentioned by Joy, and attached to the agenda packet was the staff file review analysis, which included all those ordinance requirements for each of the sections of the land development code that are applicable for the special land use request, the special land use permit application, the required narrative, the site plan review application, support material that they submitted with the site plan, staff comments, applicant's response to those comments, the area map. The 3 parcels are highlighted in blue. The block map, again, 3 parcels are highlighted in blue. Photos of the 3 parcels. And the site plan. And all of the minutes from previous meetings involving any of these parcels with the light manufacturing and the outdoor food and beverage. And then I did receive a piece of correspondence, as I stated when we were looking at the agenda in the beginning, after the agenda was posted. It was sent Saturday, May 30th. To whom it may concern, I am writing to you because I received the letter addressing Black Rocks Brewery adding on to their existing structure on 3rd Street. I am concerned with the COVID-19 virus still an issue that adding more people to 3rd Street area could be dangerous. How would trash be taken away, as trash pickup is only Tuesday night for residences? How can social distancing be taken seriously after a couple of beers? The sound travels with the outside music. Not a problem if you like the music, but if you're trying to get some much needed sleep, it is a problem. Will you have bouncers to see how many people come on the property? I have been there before, and lots of folks standing and mingling fun when there isn't a pandemic happening. I just feel, what's the rush? Why not wait to see what this new life is going to be like? Lots of great folks to go to Black Rocks, and I would hate to see a COVID-19 outbreak because too many people were cramped into a space and drinking. I'm all for businesses doing well in Marquette, but you do have a neighborhood to be aware of their needs as well. I'm asking you to wait to open this all up. Thank you for your time. Best wishes, Paula Dick, Arch Street.
Thank you.
Do you guys have any questions for staff?
Commissioner Dunn?
Andrea, could you tell me the history of this? I was looking at the notes and it seems like this has already happened like several times to get this conditional use permit. Could you just give me a little bit of a history on this?
Well, as stated, just for the record, all of the history is in the agenda packet with the minutes. Basically, when they first apply for the condition, back then it was a conditional use permit, but any expansions, they have to come back to the planning commission to get expansion approval. So they had several expansions, and then now here it is a special land use in the new land development code. And I can share the screen again. So the original outdoor food and beverage area was along here. I don't know. Can you guys in the sharing of the screen see the hand moving?
Yes.
Does it show up? Okay. And then the next area was, back here, and then they added the pergola with the fire pit, and then they also went through site plan review of demoing a home and putting in the parking there. And then what they're proposing is to expand now by adding this addition that's shown here to connect to this building, and then expand the outdoor food and beverage area to here with this new covered performance area for that accessory use of the outdoor entertainment. And then over here, it's not on this, but that was one of my staff comments that it needed to be shown. Go to that. Oh, sorry. They're asking for a second story deck on that side of the building here for some more outdoor food and beverage area. But per the code, you have to be back 5 feet from the lot line, so they will have to make sure that it's back 5 feet.
Right, Andrea, do you know roughly where that would they lose like that first row of seats, you think?
I believe so, but that would be a great question for Don, the Clemic, the architect.
Got it.
Because it wasn't on the footprint, wasn't on the site plan for me to be able to verify exactly where that falls.
Yeah, it was not easy to determine. Okay.
Michael, did I answer your questions?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
And sorry, Andrea, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
And I don't know if this is information you have or something I can ask for them. My understanding is that, since they originally opened, they've done quite a bit of work to sort of manage the sound and the noise issues with the outdoor music and everything. And so I'm not overly concerned about it, but do we have any records of noise complaints? Is there a long list of noise complaints, or have they mostly been able to sort of reduce the number of complaints in the last several years? Because
unfortunately, I wouldn't be able to tell you that. That would be with the police department. I'd have to check in with them. Okay. I do know for one of the hearings that we had, that was a question that was asked prior to, and we were able to get that information and provide how many complaints. So maybe that would be a good question for the owners to answer.
Okay.
They could tell you, if that number has gone down with the police going to their property. But if that's information that you're wanting staff to get, then that's something I would have to contact the police department. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's fine. All right, do we have any further questions for Andrea? Do you want to bring in our applicants, please?
Staff to get, then that's something I would have to contact the police department. I'm sorry.
If you have the YouTube or any of the live streaming playing, please turn it off. Otherwise, we get a very large reverb.
Want to bring in our applicants, please?
Yep. Uh-oh.
That's me.
That's you?
Or both of us.
Oh, hold on. I'm going to scoot over to his.
Hey, you guys can't be in the same room if you are both on Zoom.
There you go.
That works.
Okay, much better. Thank you. Okay, do you guys want to speak on behalf of this application? Oh, your audio is not on.
How about now? Can you hear
There
me?
you go. Okay, right ahead.
First and foremost, I think I guess I'd address the noise complaint question. I think Andy and the musicians that we've ever had have made really great inroads with trying to mitigate any potential noise complaints from the neighborhood. I don't have an exact number or time frame, but I believe we haven't received a noise complaint in
2 or 3 years.
Yeah, maybe 3 years. Andy has made sure that bands, if they're playing outside, stop at 9, and it's a hard 9. So that we feel is a pretty reasonable time to cease music in a mixed use area. And because of that, I don't think the neighbors have felt need to complain. So we haven't had the police or even a noise complaint.
Initially, we were on 3rd Street playing music, and moving to the back really seemed to help a lot. And then also over time, even though, when you're starting out with a business, you see the city restrictions of 9 o'clock as being the noise ordinance, and you think, well, you can go to 9 o'clock. Well, you can't, because we're in an area where other people live. So we move it to 10.
It was actually 11.
Oh, 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock is the noise restriction. Moved it to 10, and then just realized, you know what, let's just go to 9 and just be the early place. And since we've done that, like David said, I think it's been for sure 2, probably 3, or maybe a little bit more since we've had any issues, and definitely any kind of tickets or anything like that. So it's been working out pretty well. Plus, we don't really have heavy metal bands or anything either. It tends to be Jim and Ray type of bands.
Or Andy.
Yeah, or Sarah and John or someone. So it tends to be fairly mellow. We do have bands with some drums occasionally, but once again, we make sure we're done by 9, and talk to a lot of neighbors about it and make sure they're okay with it over the years, and it seems to be working out all right.
Do you want to address the letter?
Oh yeah, so I wrote down a couple notes from that letter, and I think it's definitely we should address some of those things. One of them, the question was increase of garbage. Right now we have garbage that's through a dumpster, and we have it empty twice a week right now, and we rarely fill it when it's twice a week. We upped it last year because it was busy last summer, so we upped that up. So that shouldn't be an issue with that. She said COVID issues. I don't think, or he, or whoever wrote the letter, and maybe they haven't been to our place, but we've been taking that extremely seriously. At least 2 rows of duct tape are on the ground right now, directing people where they can and can't go. We have guidelines printed up in signage, masks required while standing. And in fact, we don't even have any outdoor seating right now. Indoor seating. And that's one of the reasons that it's pretty crucial for us to actually increase safety the most we can and spread people out. So yeah, we're taking that quite seriously, as we should. And another, are you going to have, did you say bouncers? He said bouncers?
It said bouncers.
Okay. So what we've integrated it at the pub is host duties, greeters, tour guides, whatever you want to call them. And their job is to go through these guidelines with each individual customer, make sure that they understand they're walking through with a mask on while they're standing, and that they're following our arrows on the ground, and that they're sitting at an appropriately spaced area. And so far, so good. I would say 98% of the people are really receptive to that. There's about 2% who like to give us a hard time, but
and we don't have to serve them, so they don't have to come in.
So and really by expanding the patio, it's that Rona?
Rona.
Expanding the patio should really increase the safety, overall safety of our place. And so we're excited to do it. I think those are the main things that were brought up in the letter. But outside of that, it looks like we're just covering the outside areas right now. And I guess you can kind of see from the architectural drawing that it's a mirror image of what we currently have. It's there was a 50-foot length by 30, I think, and it's another 50 by 30. We're pretty much gonna flip it around and do similar thing minus the outside bar. And the fireplace is gonna be in a different location.
Another location.
Right. And then like Andrea mentioned, we're gonna have to meet requirements for the railing setback 5 feet. And right now, I believe the building itself is 3 feet off the line. And there's a platform up there that's about 1 foot. So we might have to bring it in. I think the other option is you go for a variance or something like that. But that's not something we're looking at doing right now because you can't access it until we actually finish the inside of the building that we're going to be working on. And well, we don't have enough cash to do that right now. So we're taking everything in phases, kind of like we've been approaching the whole pub in general, and looking to complete it when we complete it and within the time frame.
Yeah, Mike, I think your question about the history, you know, it's been a long, slow process for us because that's kind of the way we operate. We don't necessarily always feel like we're gonna need to go to the next level or have a back patio. So you look at those notes and there's a lot of piecemeal requests to keep expansion because we don't know. This one, I think Andrea's taught us pretty well now to kind of throw it all in. So we're throwing it all in so we don't have to come in front of you guys again and ask for another part or a little further part. So.
And I guess what we're looking at doing is the exact thing we're doing now. We're just looking to do it with some more German beer tables and maybe another fireplace. We already play music outside, as I mentioned. We'd like to just move everybody back a little farther and maintain the same schedule. Typically 5 nights, 4 or 5 nights, 6 to 9, and just keep finishing at 9 o'clock and try to keep everybody happy.
Happy to answer any of your questions at this time.
Do we have any questions for our applicants?
Joy?
Is that Commissioner Ruiz or is that Commissioner Primo?
No, Ruiz.
Ruiz. Okay, Commissioner Ruiz.
Guys, just curious, can you give me a rundown of the second story deck and kind of what safety precautions you're going to have with it?
For sure. It'll be, well, all this stuff isn't going to be built by us. We'll let the professionals take care of that and make sure that it's supported appropriately. There'll be a railing around it. I don't think we're going to do a railing quite like Solus Teca has up on their upper deck. We're looking at more of a framed in with
plexi or glass
or whatever.
Tempered glass.
Yeah, and you know, we're really hoping that we can get as close as we can to the edge, because if you go out there, it's a pretty neat experience, because if you sit on the edge, you can look right down the corridor 3rd and see Lake Superior. And if you're looking up the other way, you can see Mount Marquette. So it'd be really a shame to come too far back, but it looks like, you know, maybe we'd have to come about a foot or 2 back without a variance, which isn't horrible. We'll have a stairway, an outside stairway, I guess a fire escape, but I guess it could be used when there's not a fire. So that'll be built by the contractor as well. And then there'll also be access from the 2nd story balcony of the new pub, the new tap room, not tap room, I guess you call it, just a beer hall. And that's that roof above that brick building that's right next to us. That's that extension that someone put on years ago.
So just to be clear, and maybe Andrea can, you will revise this set per Andrea's comments to meet the 5 feet. And if you want to go for a variance on that, that'll be a separate issue.
Right.
correct? Okay.
And I guess we have to learn along the way here too and find out, like I mentioned, the closer you can sit to the edge, assuming that it's built correctly and it's safe, which it will be, it would be really nice to be able to stay as close as we could and provide people that experience of seeing the Third Street corridor. So we'll see. I mean, that's not something we're looking at doing immediately because we can't access it. So we'll work on getting the back patio done, try to get people spread out sometime in July. And
yeah, I'm just trying to clarify just in terms of process and procedure for this application.
Yep.
You'll have the 5 feet. It'll be a separate application to the BZA.
Correct. Yes.
To get that moved forward. So just,
you bet.
just so everybody here is clear on what they're approving. It would be with this 5-foot setback.
Right.
Okay. Do you have any questions from anybody else? Commissioner Middlefelt.
Yeah, it looks really exciting, guys. I'm excited to see this thing evolve. I had a question about the lighting. There's some new stuff in the code about dark skies, trying to preserve our dark skies. And I noticed that staff comments mention new shielding lights, strings at a 9-foot high, proposed in the expanded outdoor area with wall sconces and on the second level. And it looked like there were some pictures of like the types of lighting that were down facing, but I'm wondering about string lights.
Yeah.
Andrea, you might be able to answer this too. Like, does the stuff in the code that we put in there about light pollution and really trying to preserve dark skies, does that apply to like strings of lights? I guess my question was just about if you could speak to the lighting a little bit.
On my end of things, the type of lights that they're proposing meets the code because it's shielded. So that's why that I didn't have the comment of stating that you'd have to change that type. They did research that for that portion of the code. It's the bulb, is shielded, so you can't see the bulbs. So they're not open light bulbs. They have like that. They have a shielding on them.
All right.
Oh, okay, cool, great.
If I can, I'll try to look up here and show it to you guys in a second. Let me try to pull that up here.
One question I just had in the meantime while Andrew's looking, it's the back patio. So you got the existing back patio, you're adding this other portion. Will those all be at the same level? I was just trying to understand if there's a step at any point or if it's all going to be the same level.
No, those are nice.
Yeah, those are cool. Use those. Yes, Joy, that's going to be excavated so it is the same level.
Okay.
We want to just have a clear pathway. When it's non-COVID days, it can get busy back there, and a step would be a really bad idea. So everything will be the same level. Where the fireplace is, if you look on the drawing there, that'll be a slight grade up to that, but it won't be a step. It'll be a
the fire pit.
Yes.
Yeah, the gas fireplace there.
Yeah.
That's at a little higher ground, but it's not that much higher. It's just going to be a real gradual slope, I guess. Yeah.
And it says it's a permeable brick paver system, so it'll be able to have drainage through. You won't have a lot of runoff to deal with from that.
Should have
none. Yep, it should go right through. There won't be any we're not going to be driving food trucks on it or anything either. It's just foot traffic. So.
One other question I had is you have the covered performance area, which looks to be open in the back. So is that correct? Is that going to be open in the
There'll
back?
be a fence behind it.
6-foot fence behind it.
Okay. But there's no sound baffling at that point at all?
Since sound will be going towards Michigan.
Yeah, it'll be pointing towards Michigan, and then there'll be the 6-foot fence behind it.
Okay. Okay, what else? Do we have any other questions from our commissioners? All right. Andrew, we didn't have anybody from the public, did we, on this one?
No.
No, we bought him out.
All right, you guys can go on mute, and if we have any questions, we'll let you know. Thanks. Okay, guys, what do we think? Does anybody want to have discussion? Do you want to move straight to a motion? Let me know where you're at. Commissioner Larson?
If nobody wants to suspend the rules, I'll just go ahead and make a motion.
That's
all right. I'll make a motion. So after review of the site plan dated May 5th, 2020, and the staff file review and analysis for 11-SUP-06-20, the Planning Commission finds that the request meets the intent and requirements of the Land Development Code, sections 54.1403, 54.635, 54.636, and 54.1402, and hereby approves 11 SUP 0620 with the conditions that conditions of approval that an amended plan is submitted to meet all staff comments.
Second.
We have a second by Commissioner Brooks. Any discussion? This looks pretty well thought out, and I think they've dealt with a lot of the issues that we've seen previously. So I don't have any real issues that jump out at me. And it seems like a nice improvement of 3rd Street. So if nobody else has a comment, I'll do a roll call vote. Commissioner Brooks.
Yes.
Commissioner Andres.
Yeah. Yes.
Commissioner Dunn.
Yes.
Commissioner Middlefelt.
Yes.
Commissioner Larson.
Yes.
Commissioner Rees.
Yes.
Where are we? Commissioner Primo.
Yeah.
And I vote yes. So the application or the motion passes.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
We hope to keep you guys proud of what we're doing.
Thank you. Okay. Moving on to item C. What do we have here? 12-SUP-06-20, 4321 Highway M553, additions and revisions to existing land intensive recreational use. Andrea?
Staff has reviewed the special land use permit for additions and revisions to their previously approved special use permit for a land intensive recreational use for the campground located at 4321 State Highway M553. Attached to the agenda was the staff file review analysis, which had all the ordinance requirements regarding site plan review and the special land use. The special land use permit application, the required narrative with the applicant's response, the site plan review application, staff comments, applicant's response to staff comments, the area map, parcels outlined in blue, the block map, the parcels outlined in blue.
Andrea, I'm not seeing your screen.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Do you want me to start over? Well, at least here, let me just do the area map. So the area map, the parcels outlined in blue, the block map, photos of the site, and the site plan.
Hey, Andrea. Wait. Oh,
Yeah.
Can you just go back one drawing? This drawing's so hard to read. Can you just point out for everybody where on this we're dealing with? There?
This area here on the site.
Thank you.
I can, let me. So here's the existing deck and patio. So it's like in this area.
Okay.
And then, sorry. So here's that, here's the office building, the existing deck. Then they're proposing this deck and adding a granite countertop with storage underneath and the pizza oven. Before there, I believe it was in this area that the pizza oven they were applying for. And that was just an oven, not as it's shown here. You can see in the elevation drawings. And then they're showing the existing other things that they have, like the lodging and the survey. And then we did also have the previous minutes included with this case file. And then I did not receive any correspondence for this case.
Okay. Thank you, Andrea. Do we want to bring in our applicant? Yeah.
Hello.
Hi, Matt. Nice
Hey.
to see you again.
Good.
Do you want to say anything on behalf of this?
Yeah, I mean, we just had we had it located a little bit closer to the river, and you know, as we were kind of looking at that, we realized that it'd be a little bit more practical to have it a little bit more accessible from the actual office building. So we, you know, proposed to move it, you know, up off the existing deck there.
Okay. Sorry, hold on, I'm just looking. Okay, thanks. Do we have any questions for Mr. Trado? Does not look like we do. All right, Matt, you can go on mute, and if we have any questions, we'll let you know.
Sounds good.
Andrea, do we have any public comment on this one?
Nope, only the one person asking to speak after.
Okay. Okay, does anybody have any questions or comments? Do you want to suspend discussion? Does somebody want to make a motion? There's nothing about this that seems super challenging to me. I think it's just a question of the fact that it's a special land use again, and so any changes they make, they have to come before us. But this seems to be quite part and parcel of the general work that they've been doing. So I don't have any major questions about it. Does somebody want to make a motion? Anyone? Or just,
Okay,
thank you.
I'll give her a go. Let's see here.
You know,
So after review of the site plan dated May 4th, 2020, the staff file review analysis for 12 SUP 0620. The Planning Commission finds that the request meets the intent and requirements of the Land Development Code, sections 54.1403, 54.639, and 54.1402, and hereby approves 12 SUP 0620 with the condition that an amended plan is submitted to meet staff comments.
Second.
who was that? Was that Commissioner Andres?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Sorry. I'll do a roll call vote. Let's start at the bottom now. Commissioner Primo,
Yes.
Commissioner Dunn,
Yes.
Commissioner Ruiz,
Yes.
Commissioner Middlefelt,
Yes.
Commissioner Larson,
Yes.
Commissioner Andres,
Yes.
Commissioner Brooks,
Yes.
and I vote yes as well. So the motion passes. Thank you, Matt.
Yeah, thank you.
Have a good night.
You too.
Okay. Okay, let's bring in our citizen wishing to address the commission on agenda items. We can't hear you, Andrew.
Sorry.
Okay.
Okay, she was on non-agenda items, but
Oh, okay. Got it.
sorry.
That's okay. So we have nobody wishing to address the commission on agenda items. It doesn't look like we have any old business, nor do we have any new business. So let's move on to citizens wishing to address the commission on non-agenda items.
Okay, I'm letting her in now.
Okay, thank you.
And then this was the last person that was in the waiting room.
Okay, thanks. Okay, let's bring in our citizen wishing to address the commission on agenda items. Yes, is this Holly Barsh?
Yes, this is Holly Barsh. Hi, thanks for taking my call.
Just state your name and address for the record. And if you could
yes,
keep your comments to roughly 3 minutes, please.
Perfect, thank you. My name is Holly Barsh. I live at 507 West Hampton, which is in South Marquette. And I'm addressing the commission today regarding the recent passing of the special land permits granted to the former Beefaroo and Farmer Q's. My concern is how will this impact the traffic flow in South Marquette? My primary concern is that intersection, which those businesses are located, is the only pedestrian safe crossing on US 41 in South Marquette, which is utilized by many families. And how will it impact the surrounding streets, such as Altamont, Harborview, Hampton, etc. South Marquette has a lack of sidewalks, and there are many kids that utilize just the streets riding their bikes, including my own. And my concern with that is that traffic, the additional traffic from these businesses, and with the kids riding on the street, my concern is that it'll just be a hazard for them if those businesses increase, such as increase the traffic, I guess. I'm also aware of the possibility of another potential business, the former Union Grill, coming to South Marquette. That would be the third potential marijuana business in this area. And it doesn't include the existing medical marijuana at the old Liquor Control Commission building. My question, I guess, with the new business, how many new businesses of that type do we need in South Marquette? I definitely encourage new business in South Marquette. I would just like to see more of a family-friendly, such as a restaurant or an ice cream shop. But my biggest concern is that intersection and the safety of that intersection between Beefaroo and Farmer Q's, and that so many families utilize that. And that's all really I have to say. So I want to thank you for listening.
Thank you. We really appreciate your comments.
Yep.
And you can stay on. I don't know if any of the commissioners want to say anything in response to your comments.
Yeah, I would just say thank you.
Let's start with Commissioner Ruiz.
I would, share in Ms. Barsh's concern, especially regarding that Farmer Q's property. I do think that they're going to need to have some very tight controls in place when it comes to their parking and that traffic flow. I mean, anyone who's pulled into Farmer Q's, just as the facility it is now, there's spatial issues. And, I guess what I would do is keep on the property owner to ensure that things are operating as smoothly as possible. But that is a potential, and I do share Ms. Barsh's concern.
Commissioner Dunn?
Yeah, I would just echo what Commissioner Ruiz said, and I think maybe we should take a closer look at that intersection and see if there's something that we can do to make it a little more pedestrian friendly. You know, I think there's definitely issues there, and with South Beach right across the street, I think it probably gets used a lot more than we realize. So yeah, and thank you, Ms. Marsh, for bringing that up.
Thank you.
Commissioner Brooks?
Yeah, I'd like to comment on that too. I do too live in South Marquette, and I do utilize that pedestrian crossing quite often with my wife and my dogs, walking the dogs down to the bike path. I do understand that concern totally. And now with the hotel going in, the townhouses, there's going to be extensive more amount of traffic going through the area. Maybe at a later date, we can look at something to see for a safer pedestrian crossing in there. Being the idea that the old Beefaroo and the Farmer Q's is going to actually have more traffic. Time will tell on that, but I do truly agree that there should be a safer alternative for pedestrians crossing there. And thank you for your concern, Holly.
Commissioner Middlefelt?
Yeah, just kind of want to echo what everyone's saying and thank Ms. Barsh for speaking and raising these issues. Not only the traffic thing, I think will be interesting to see how that shakes out in that particular intersection, but she also mentioned this issue of sort of the concentration of marijuana retailers in South Marquette. And my understanding is when we were looking at the code, it was more about, we were trying to find particular zoning districts that where, you know, different aspects of the marijuana industry would be appropriate. And we were told by the city commission not to think about quotas right on the numbers. But I think maybe within the next year, this might be something that the city commission, elected officials, Ms. Barsh, you might want to reach out to your elected city officials to put this on their radar, because it might be something we want to consider in the future is like, we've already seen four in the city of Marquette in the last 2 meetings or something, 3 meetings. So that might be something we want to look into in the future. We'll see how this year goes, but I think that's an important point. And again, thank you, Ms. Barsh, for sharing your concerns with us.
Yeah, just to reiterate a couple of things. I mean, as far as I share everybody's concern about the transportation and the crosswalk issues. And I don't know if that's something that falls into sort of right of way and MDOT, but it's certainly something we can, you know, try to keep alive and keep aware, and definitely be vigilant as these businesses occur and you know, placing complaints. Just to speak to what Commissioner Middlefelt said, the city commission was very clear that they did not want to put a limit and they did not want to put sort of distance between business restrictions. And so we were very specifically tasked with doing just finding appropriate zoning districts. I would highly recommend you take your comments, which I think are very relevant to the city commission, because as Commissioner Middlefelt said, they made a commitment to revisit this in a year. And I think it's going to be really important for them as they see how this is playing out, how many businesses we have, you know, are opening and the concentrations, that they hear from the community about their concerns and their thoughts, so that as they refine these codes and these laws, you know, they have all the information. So I'm just trying to put into perspective for you guys sort of where it's important to share your voice, because we have some say and some control, but in some senses we don't. So, but we do appreciate hearing from you. And I do hope you'll share it with the city commission.
If I may, Dave had sent me an email. He can't communicate anymore. His phone died. But he said that we will discuss with MDOT about the pedestrian signal about that. And MDOT looked at those plans, and then also they're closing out one of the curb cuts, if you'll remember. That was discussion for that.
That's the one on 41, or is that the one on?
That's the Beefaroo with the one on 41.
So they'll only have the one that's opposite Farmer Q.
So they had 3. So they had 2 on 41 and then 1 on Genesee. So they're closing out this one, I believe. And then for the Farmer Q site, they're closing that it's a bigger curb cut right now, and they're bringing that size in and relocating it. And then that parking lot is going to be more defined too. So those things should help define the traffic going in and out of those areas. So I just wanted to state that.
Thank you, Andrea. That's helpful. Okay, thank you, Ms. Barsh, for your comments. We really, we do appreciate that. And we are all watching this kind of play out together. Okay, so we don't have anybody else for comment, right, Andrea?
Nope, no one else is in the waiting room.
Okay, and so we have our planning zoning division report, which I looked at briefly. Looks like Dave's not here to have any comments on it. Does anybody have any questions or anything they want to discuss as regards to that exciting document? Nope. Okay, and then we don't have any work sessions or reports, plans, or ordinances. So let's move on to commission and staff comments. Let's start with Commissioner Brooks.
None for me this evening.
Okay, thanks. Commissioner Andres? Commissioner Andres, do you have? Okay.
Sorry, I have none.
Okay. Commissioner Larson?
None for me.
Commissioner Middlefelt?
None.
Commissioner Ruiz?
I just wanted to mention, when we brought up the most recent marijuana facility, the auto value on Washington Street, I went back and checked my notes in regards to the fire station. They empty their trash every 3 days. They generate a ton of trash based on my recollection. And so just, I part of the reason why I voted yes without any further thing is because I trusted the applicant to do what was right in terms of handling the situation. She had good answers, but I know we look a lot of times at the macro level as to how this is going to help the environment and what's the long-term plan. But I think we also need to focus on the little things as such as like what kind of trash are we going to need to prevent from happening in the future. So that's just something that seemed to be a concern of mine, because the last thing I want to do is have the businesses in the neighborhoods rolling because there's bags, rolling in trash because there's bags outside of the auto value that a skunk or something got into, and then it became a nuisance for the neighborhood. So I guess that's my soapbox for tonight, but I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner Riz. And just to sort of, it's a good point, and I think it also relates back to what Commissioner Middlefelt spoke to earlier regarding like, how are we supposed to be evaluating these nuisances? And unfortunately, the reality is we don't have any practical examples in our community, and it's really not going to be until these businesses open up and we start to see what the real life implications of them are. And so again, I'm actually hoping that some of these are open before this year timeline when the city commission revisits the code and the ordinance, so that we can make any adjustments that are necessary to, because I agree, we don't really know what we're dealing with, and we are going a bit on faith because there are no comparable businesses in the community. So yeah, it's a good point to make. Okay, Commissioner Dunn.
I'll just say I finished the citizen planner course with the MSU extension. Brad Newman's, well, not just his class, but he organizes it. And I thought it was really good. I learned a lot.
Great. Commissioner Primo. Wayne?
Oh, I had a lot to say, but I'm gonna wait. So, nothing.
Okay. Yeah, I guess the one thing I want to point out is, we postponed approving the minutes. Please just take extra careful attention to them and make sure everything is accurate, as we want to make sure that we've got a good record of that meeting, I think. Andrea?
My apologies for messing up with the screen sharing. Thank you for letting me know that you guys couldn't see that. So I do apologize. Sorry. And then Dave said that he wanted to mention that the community development Facebook page is unable to be used. He's not sure why or what can be done, but just as an FYI that they're having issues with it. And then that was it.
Okay. Sean, do you have anything you want to add?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. All right. I adjourn this meeting. Have a great night, everybody.
Thank you, you too.
Thank you.